In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how pain and suffering started working for me instead of against me. With just one little mindset shift, I was able to turn all my suffering, all my pain, all my hardships into the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. And I know you can too. It's all about switching perspective, and we're about to jump into all of it right now. Let's get messy. Welcome, my beautiful friends. I'm Natalie, and I'm here to share with you how I've turned my messes into messages and come out the other side. I'm not a doctor, so if you feel you need one, please get one. But if you're looking for a friend who's been there, like and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. We're going to open it up with a question. Our question today is, when the going gets tough, what keeps you centered in your recovery? So I'm taking that as what keeps me going. Like when I go through hard days, what keeps me going? What makes me not want to pick up? And honestly, I knew it was time to change because I crossed off all the not yets. I wasn't homeless yet. I wasn't broke yet. I crossed all of those off my list. I turned into a shell of a human being, somebody I didn't even recognize anymore. I didn't like that person, but I thought that's who I was. It's all I knew. And today, now in my recovery, I'm really getting to grow an intimate relationship with me, who I truly am. The drugs masked it. I didn't really get to know myself when I was high at all because my life was just about the getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. But when I go through hard times, sometimes I'll still feel withdrawals a lot. And I'm coming up on 3 years, but I still get hot, cold sweats. I'll still wake up in the morning shivering or sweating. And that is a huge trigger to me because I used to just use and it would get rid of these uncomfortable physical sensations. And a lot of times I just wanted to feel good. I didn't care who I hurt. I didn't care what I destroyed. I just wanted to get high. And today I live in this freedom because I don't let that little substance that fits in a tiny baggie control my existence. So on the days when I get the chills or I get really frustrated and I just want to say, F it, I'm just going to go use, I'm just going to get high, I stop myself. I play the tape through. I know it's not just going to be one time. I've done enough research to know there's never just one time. I'm going to want it the next day and the next day. And then it's just a matter of time before I'm in jail or rehab again. So I sit through the uncomfortable moments. As hard as painful it is, I don't make my life about me anymore. My selfish needs, I need to feel good. I want to be comfortable. I throw all that out the window because it's not just about me. And as soon as I got clean and sober and I started working steps and I really started to enthrall myself in my recovery, helping others, being kind to others, being honest to myself and others, that's a gift in itself. And I know if I go and use just because I'm uncomfortable one day or upset one day, I'm going to throw all that away. I'm going to throw away the relationships I've built. I'm definitely going to spend all my money. I know that without a doubt. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to me. I don't want to go through that chaos. Calling someone, finding someone, getting it, finding money, finding a place to use in, dealing with coming off the drug, then gonna want more. It's just this repetitious cycle, and I haven't used in so long, I don't even know where I'd go. I'd have to wander the streets to find somebody, and it's when I can play that tape through, it stops me every time. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So I hope that something I said helped you. Thank you for your question so much. It's important we answer these questions. Always drop a comment and ask me anything. Drop a comment, ask me a question, contact me. I'm here for you guys. The struggle's hard and the fight is real, but we don't have to do it alone. I'm here for you. Now I'm going to start with a story, how pain and suffering started working for me. right? I'm going to start with a story. Years ago, when I was living in Miami, I had never been arrested. I was still a functioning drug addict. I was drinking a lot back then, popping pills. I hadn't done heroin yet, but I just thought I was on top of the world. I thought nobody could touch me, nobody could hurt me. Like, life is good. Nobody knows my secret. My drugs were my secret. It was my love affair. I'd go hide in the bathroom and make love to my drugs. Essentially, like, it was just me and the substance, living our own secret little existence. But I had too much alcohol and Xanax one night after a company party. I had just helped open the spa I was managing in Miami. So we had this big, welcoming party, opening party. And we were all drinking. And the owner of the spa used to pop Xanax. So she and I would just pop them together and drink wine. And this particular evening, I decided to drive home. I got my car from the valet and the daylights had been shut off. So I'm driving with no headlights. I got pulled over. Right? I was so close to my house too, guys. I was like a block away. And I got pulled over and the cop said, "Do you know why I'm pulling you over?" I said, "No." And he's like, "Your daylights are on. Your headlights aren't on." And I apologized, obviously, but he could tell I'd been drinking. He asked me to get out of the car. He did some sobriety tests on me and I failed. So they handcuffed me and threw me in the cop car and on my way to jail I go. First arrest ever, Miami-Dade County Jail. It was scary. They do your intake, fingerprints, tell you to put on this fancy orange jumpsuit. You get assigned a number. And then they took us all, first of all, they handcuffed us by our ankles and our wrists. I felt like I was a double homicide murderer or something. It was crazy. But Miami doesn't mess around. They handcuffed our wrists and our ankles, and they took a group of us women into a truck. And then that truck drove us somewhere. And then they get us out of the truck, and I see we're at a courthouse. They bring me and the women down into like a basement jail cell. Ugh, it was so gross. I was there with like 10 women in a tiny little one-person cell. There was a pregnant woman in there. I mean, they just didn't care. But I mean, like, why should they? We were all drinking or using drugs. We were doing bad things to ourselves. We didn't respect ourselves. So why should law enforcement? Looking back on it now, I can understand that part, actually. But I was scared. I'd never been arrested before. And they were so hard on us in Miami. So we finally do our court hearing. We each meet through the judge on the TV. And then they bring us back in the truck, drive us back somewhere else, bring us all out, still shackled at the wrists and ankles. And then I get assigned a room. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting assigned a room. I'm never leaving here. And it was scary. I went into my bunk and my bunkie or roommate was like talking all weird in Spanish, got up on the toilet, was shouting to a man through the vent, like sexual things. I can laugh at it now, but I remember going up because I was on the top bunk and I cried. I let it out. And I didn't say the words because I didn't want my roommate to hear me, but I was in my head begging God, if there's a God, please let me go. I don't want to be here. I promise, Lord, I promise I will never drink again. I will never touch alcohol. I won't pop pills. Just please, Lord, get me out of here. Please. And I fell asleep. And my friends, like literally 5 seconds later, it felt like I heard a knock at the door. And they were discharging me. So I got out. And the first thing I did was drink. Called my ex. He came and picked me and this girl I met up that was also in jail. I don't even remember her name. Well, we just went and partied. We went and drank. We did some other drugs. I quickly forgot my testimony to the Lord. I was ready to change my life. I was so desperate from all the pain and disgust with myself. I was in this place where I was really ready to give it all up. But it was like as soon as they knocked on the door and released me, I forgot about it all. I needed to do more research out there. I needed to use more. I needed to show myself that I'm not the higher power. But I wasn't ready to accept that. And I wasn't ready to accept that there was a higher power, that God heard my prayer of desperation and let me out of jail. I was too much of this physical world. I was very selfish. And I just wasn't ready to believe that there was anything other than me running my world. What I've really learned from all of this is that pain brings me closer to myself. Pain brings me closer to a power greater than me, a God. Pain and suffering develops me. It builds my character. And the more that I isolate from the physical world, the superficiality, the comparison, the I'm not good enough, the negative self-talk, as soon as I distance myself from that and I really tap into the spiritual gifts within me, which when I say spiritual gifts, it's just the ability to isolate my thoughts from the outside world and tap into a connection with the source, with my higher power. Because I know there's something out there, guys, listening to us. And I've learned that from this, that when I go through hardships, when I go through pain and suffering, it's building me. And if I had an easy, cushy life, I wouldn't have any layers to my life. I wouldn't grow from the situations that I go through. I needed those hardships to develop me. And as much as I complained about it in the moment, like, life's a roller coaster. It's not cushy all the time. And I feel that I was pre-programmed as a child watching like TV shows, the Brady Bunch and stuff, like every family was perfect. Nobody argued and they all went to nice schools. I had this idea that life was supposed to be perfect, but it's anything but that. That's why I call myself messy, because there's beauty in the mess. We're all, I feel, programmed from an early age to be like perfect cookie cutter versions of ourselves, and that just doesn't exist. It's not real. And when you get real, when you get messy with yourself and with the world, oh, my friends, it's such a beautiful way to live. It's such a beautiful way to live. I used to live in this self-made prison of I'm not good enough, which would then lead me into depression, which would then lead me to drugs or alcohol, and then it would just all repeat all over again. But today when I go through something hard, I know it's building me. I know it's developing character in me, and when I can't see it in the moment, I see it later. I can look back at all the traumas, all the hardships I went through, and today I can say it happened for a reason. I'm glad things didn't turn out my way, because if they did, I wouldn't be in a good place. I definitely wouldn't be here talking to you. Sometimes it's good when I don't get my way. And life has taught me that I don't know everything. In our closing story for today, I want to tell you guys about when I was in high school. My brother had passed away. He died when he was 8. I was the driver of a car. We got into an accident when I was 16 years old. I lost him. He was passed away. This was maybe a year or so after the accident. My friends all had turned against me. They'd beat me up in the halls. I'd have to have a hall monitor walk me from classroom to classroom just to avoid their abuse. Every morning before school would start, I'd sit in my car. And I still didn't believe in God back then. I thought there was no God if he took my brother, if he made my friends turn against me. There's no God. But I would pray to something back then, and I would just say to myself, I am going to make something of my life one day. And all of the people in this school that have bullied me, that have done me wrong, they're all going to wish they didn't bring on this pain. They're going to ask for forgiveness one day. They're going to regret hurting me. And it sure didn't happen right away. But just about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I received a message from the leader of the pack, the main girl out of all the girls that were bullying me. And she sent me a message on Facebook and just said, Nat, I am so sorry for what we did to you. I hope you can forgive me. I have a daughter now, and I think about kids doing to her what we did to you, and it turns my stomach. And I wrote her back and said, girl, I forgave you a long time ago so I could move on. But what I used to mantra in the car it took a long time, but it works. Plant a seed. It's going to blossom. I've lived long enough to look back on my life and realize these things are true. What you think about, you bring about. It might not happen overnight, but it happens. My life is a testimony to that what you think about, you bring about. Start being grateful for your pain, for your hardships. And I know it's hard in the moment. If you're going through something hard or traumatic, it's so hard. It was hard for me to thank God for taking my little brother's life right next to me. How could I be grateful for that? But I'm going to be doing another episode on spiritual awakenings and experiences. And my friends, I have had so many experiences, especially recently, that I know we don't just die. I know there's more to life than what we can see. There's a spirit world at work here. And we can be in denial of it all we want, and that's fine. But the moment that I opened myself up and started engaging in it, I can't even describe. I need a whole episode to describe to you guys what happened. It was unbelievable, and it continues to be unbelievable. Life can be so good. It can be so beautiful, but it can also be so crappy. And I know both sides of the spectrum. Gratitude is the secret ingredient to what makes my life great today. I find gratitude in everything. Everything. Even the hard stuff. Because that's what's building me. That's what's developing my character. And if my life were just easy, it wouldn't be life. So find beauty in the struggle. And know that it's going to end. Like, life is a roller coaster. It's up and down all the time. So if you're in an up moment, nice. You're going to be down though soon. I mean, it's just the way that life works. Life's a roller coaster. So when you're going through the hard times, just hold on. And remember, it gets better. Have faith it's going to get better. Think it. Feel it. Believe it. And it will happen. 3 years ago, I would have never thought my life would be the way it is today. Time goes by anyways. Just put one foot in front of the other. And believe with gratitude that you are love, you are light, you are more than just your physical. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope something I said really helped resonate. Don't forget, if you have questions, I'd love to answer them. Pop them in the comment box below. And find beauty in the struggling. See you next time.